am a fighter and not a quitter.
Welcome to our channel. Well, today we are going to take a look at the super early resignation of the UK Prime Minister that set a new record in British history. In this video, we will find out what led to her resignation, what the UK government will do to solve this issue moving forward, and who succeeded in her position.
I'm resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
So, what do you think about the early resignation of UK Prime Minister Liz Truss? Is she really a quitter or a fighter knocked down by pressure? Let us know in the comment section down below. Have you ever experienced receiving a promise from someone only to find it gone like the wind?
Mr. President, Your Excellencies.
Liz Truss' leadership was tested for a long time before becoming Prime Minister in September 2022, but recently she has become an undeniably laughingstock because people think that her time as Prime Minister was sarcastically less than the shelf life of a lettuce. Not to mention, her leadership was previously questioned and opposed by a lot of people, like how she had a small talent pool since she wouldn't put anyone in government who hadn't backed her candidacy, being elected by default upon winning the leadership contest, and ignored the good of the citizens to cater the wants of party members. But unlike others who stood their ground despite disagreements, it is out of the ordinary for her to initially show a strong determination to serve her country, only to find it crumbling down just after a couple of weeks.
We need to step up. I'm determined to get Britain moving, to get us through the tempest, and to put us on a stronger footing as a nation.
It turns out that a lot of Conservative members of Parliament were pushing her to resign because of the increasing backlash from the public. It was due to the high cost of living resulting from her failed tax-cutting budget plan that slowed down the economy. This was further worsened by her exposure to a more toxic environment in politics, especially after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, as evident by the high level of resignations. She said, "I recognize though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to announce that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party." This resignation, following the reversal of the majority of tax cuts by the British Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt, was seen as a good way to recover the financial markets, as it might bring back the faith of the investors, especially because of how the bad decision of policymakers affected the bond market negatively to the point that it threatened to put the British pension money at risk. Having a new leader does not automatically save the reputation of the Conservatives, but it makes sure to limit the damage. Overall, this was bad timing for Truss because she entered a high position at a time when countries are struggling because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and so committing a mistake is noticeable. Thus, she resigned because she seemed to have no way out given that she was being pressured from all sides. So, what's the next step of the United Kingdom government? In a time where piles of problems are looming over the UK, such as a full-year economic recession and inflation that sank to 9.9% in August, Truss' short-lived leadership position puts the UK in a rush to find a replacement for her. But this does not happen instantly because the aspiring future Prime Minister must get at least 100 Conservative members of Parliament to support their candidacy. But since there are only 357 members, a maximum of 3 candidates could apply for this position. Thus, having only one candidate means that he or she will automatically be the new UK Prime Minister. So, in the event that 2 candidates are qualified to run, an indicative ballot will be done so that the one least supported can step down voluntarily. But if there are 3, the one who gets the fewest votes will be eliminated. And just like the procedure between the 2 candidates, an indicative ballot will be held. Afterward, King Charles will request them to form a government and present their plans for the medium-term fiscal announcement on October 31. If the Conservative members of Parliament failed to reach a mutual decision to appoint a leader, they will be forced by British law to have a required general election in January 2025. But since the UK recently announced the new Prime Minister, they avoided the scenario of being defeated by the opposition party as reflected in the opinion polls. Before, we were aware that the top 3 possible contenders for the Prime Minister position were Finance Minister Rishi Sunak, former Defense Secretary Penny Mordaunt, and the recently ousted former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. True enough, one of them won this tough competition, so let us now introduce the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. But before we dive in for more, if you like this video, smash that like button, and if you are still not following us, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for more content like this. And the winner among the three is none other than Finance Minister Rishi Sunak, who also became the UK's first Prime Minister of colour. This great feat in UK history is a good sign that even though equality and racism are hard fights, their walls are now slowly breaking down despite the existing white supremacy. Putting into words what he feels about this, Sunak said, "It's just a sign of 21st century Britain, where it doesn't matter what background you're from now, that you can rise up the ranks to the positions of power." It was a joyful and proud moment for him as he received this news after attending the Diwali festival as a practicing Hindu and then receiving a warm welcome from the people from India and South Asia, and even the majority of the parliament members showed support for him. In this issue, politicians must keep in mind that every decision affects the lives of thousands of people, so they should never experiment on a policy they did not thoroughly know. Being Prime Minister entails a great deal of responsibility, for they will be criticized or praised for whatever they do. Rishi Sunak's win calls for celebration, but make no mistake that the world is becoming a better place because we cannot remove the fact that Rishi Sunak is privileged. Since he comes from a well-off family, he grew up with a lot of opportunities knocking on his door. Though I know we are hoping that even if he did not come from a humble background, he should still understand the situation and help the British people in the minority to live the life they deserve, starting from not experiencing oppression, injustice, and poverty. Next time, those coming from poor families could be given the chance to become prime ministers, as they possess more empathy and could be an anchor of hope for those who dream of this line of work. But for now, all we can do is wait and see what awaits the UK's future in the hands of the new government under Rishi Sunak's direction. Is he going to be in the Hall of Fame and beat the lettuce, or a shameful one like Liz Truss? So that's it. Again, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell to stay updated with the latest news or documentaries on the End of the World channel. Thank you.
The party opposite will be backing the lunatic protesting.